This isn't ice cream for the puppy. This isn't ice cream for the puppy.
Hello my friends, welcome back to another video. We are sitting down for a little brekkie ice cream this morning. We have Shamrock shakes that I made yesterday. It is St. Patrick's Day today when I'm filming this. I made these Shamrock shakes yesterday, part of meal prep, which we're gonna talk about. But we're starting off the day on a little bit of a festive note. Delish. You guys, if you've been around here, you know I do pretty much any like smoothie that I have, recipe that I have, just throw it in there. Smoothie or overnight oats. You just mix it up. I do blend this before. I'll show you that one when we talk about what happened with meal prep yesterday. I have that there. And then I added this Purely Elizabeth. This is, I just opened it yesterday just to snack on. So it's a nut granola and I was like, it's almost like too nutty, but I realized it was perfect to mix into this because I was like, this doesn't have a ton of fat in it. I didn't put like peanut butter or anything in it like that, so I mixed this in. I don't usually use the mix-in setting on my creamy, but I did today and it turned out fabulous. This baby was full, so we had to pack it in there. Also guys, hello, my name is Colleen. I'm a non-diet registered dietitian here to show you with these week of eats, things that I'm eating, why I'm eating them, give you a little recipe inspiration and what it looks like to actually live a life of no food rules, to not diet and to find balance naturally with your choices. Make it easy, effortless, feel good, both mentally and physically. That's what we do around here. So hi, hello, welcome to the video. I think the theme of this video is gonna be what the heck. Like literally, there's been so many times, so many things that I have thought recently and I'm just literally like, what? I should start off saying this is gonna be a very busy week for me. I know that. And I just feel like it's just one of those things where I feel like it starts to rain, it starts to pour. Yesterday just hit the fan and I'm gonna walk you through, I did not want to meal prep and how I kind of found the motivation to do it to make the week go easier, and it also ended up being fun. So I'll share that in a minute, but I don't have time right now. So I just want to check in Monday morning, show you what we got going on for breakfast, and then we'll do a little bit of a chat either later today or tomorrow about getting motivation to meal prep and some little tips and tricks that I did yesterday to get myself to do it out of an act of self-care, not self-control. I'm gonna eat this. I need to get dinner in the crock pot. We have a crock pot meal today, and then we got a bunch of stuff to do. But then also, so not only is this a busy week in terms of scheduling, there was multiple things I got when I was grocery shopping that I'm gonna use for recipes throughout the week that weren't exactly what I wanted. So we're gonna roll with the punches this week. So welcome to this video. We're gonna tackle the week. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna heat up some more coffee to have with this. It's like the hot cold combo, but let's do it guys. Another week of eats. Here we go. Alrighty, friends, for dinner, I made dinner's already, it was very nice to come home and not have to cook. I made the corned beef and cabbage, super, super easy. So dinner is all ready to go here. Oh, look at, she's bubbly. I think we can turn her down. One thing about me is I pretty much always forget something with a crockpot recipe, whether it's to turn it on. It's a miracle that I actually remember this. I almost forgot the potatoes. They seem like they cooked. I put those in a couple hours after. Oh yeah, those are nice and soft. All right, so we've got our cabbage, potatoes, carrots, there's an onion, and then I'm gonna dig out the piece of meat here. She's looking pretty perfect, friends. So we have our corned beef, then we're gonna plate up our veggies. Like I said, everything feels like it's cooked pretty good. This is a pretty solid and very easy crockpot recipe. Sometimes I feel like, oh yeah, those potatoes are perfect. Sometimes I feel like you get them and then it's like everything turns into mush. No, these still have like pretty good, even the carrots, like they're not overly mushy. Cool, love it. We done. All right. My toxic tray is like never actually putting this away and kind of just like shoving it in my cabinet thing here. But what? We got the podcast episode. I actually was going to talk about food guilt on this week's episode, but I ended up, because I had a realization yesterday about the meal prep topic that I wanted to talk about with you guys. So I expanded on that in the podcast. We're still going to talk about it here, but what I had originally planned for this YouTube video was that I was going to talk about the 5 tips that I used on Sunday, which I'm still going to do, to motivate myself to get my meal prep done. But I realized something. I actually had an ulterior motive, and that was wanting to make literally filming this video easier because food is part of my job. So I think I won't go over the whole thing here. You can listen to the episode. I'll link it in the description. It'll be live by the time you're watching this. But I just think it's so important whenever we're comparing ourselves to specifically like content creators online, there are ulterior motives because yes, they might be styling an outfit because it makes them feel good. They might be organizing their pantry because they like the way it looks, but it also might be literally making their job easier. We dove pretty deep into that in the episode, so I'll link that in the description of this for you if you want to listen to more. But let's go ahead and chat about the 5 tips that I used to meal prep. We're gonna go get comfy and cozy with Theo as we do this because I feel like he just needs a little extra lovin'. I feel bad, he's been very annoying to me lately. Bless him. I feel like such a bad dog mom for saying that, but I just feel like he could use a little extra love.
Hi, baby. Hi, baby boy. You wanna hang out with us?
Oof.
You're a cute baby.
I'm like, let's get Theo in here. And he's just like, I couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. Okay, the first thing that I did on Sunday was I remembered why the heck am I doing this, right? It was and this is where kind of that epiphany, I was like, it's also gonna make my job a lot easier. So remembering why you're doing it, for me, I knew that it just makes my week go easier. I know that I can have my breakfasts ready in the morning, my lunches are ready to go. It just allows me to focus on work during the work week versus now I have to get myself out of my workflow when you get in that flow state and you feel really creative, the worst thing is getting out of that. So it really just helps my week go easier. I also knew this was going to be a very stressful week. I started some big projects and it was just like, this is the last thing that I want to have to focus on because my energy needs to go elsewhere. Tip number 1 is to remember why you're doing that. Tip number 2 is to prioritize. So I actually thought through all the things that I wanted to make and I was like, what is going to make the biggest impact on my week? For me, I knew that was 100% going to be making my creamies so that my mornings can go easier. I just find that when my morning starts off easy, it's just better for the rest of the day. You kind of set yourself up for success. And I know that when I don't have breakfast prep, I'm more likely to grab like a protein bar and then that's not satisfying or enough for me. And then I end up snacking in the morning and it just throws my whole morning out of whack. So I knew that was a priority. Second priority was the coleslaw because I was like, it's going to make my lunches taste better. Could I throw it together on Monday? Yes. But do I like it when it sits a little bit more? Yes. But again, I could get away with not doing that. Grasshopper ice cream was 100% not needed. I wanted to make that because it was St. Patrick's Day. And also it's enjoyable, but I knew I had some other sweets, so that wasn't 100% a need. So I was like, let's make that a game time decision once I get started, see how I feel. And then also I wanted to cut some veggies for the crock pot meal that I made yesterday, but I was like, this is definitely not make or break if we don't get to it. So prioritize not only the task, but within there, what is a need to get done about this and what is not. So prioritize the types of things that I needed to do and then make it enjoyable. So what I did was I put some eye masks on to make it a little bit more enjoyable. You can do this. I'll do this when I do my cleaning on Sunday. I will save one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. This is called temptation bundling, where you take an unenjoyable task, pair something with it to make it more enjoyable. And this was the best part of what I kind of have done is I timed myself, you guys. I started a timer. I intentionally did this because I thought, let me set you down, see if you can sit on the couch here. I timed myself and I originally did it because I was like, I don't think this is gonna take as long as I expect. It made it fun because it turned it into a game of beat the clock. And I got my smoothies done, I got my coleslaw done, and then I looked at the timer, I was like, I think I can make the ice cream. Let's see how fast I can make the ice cream. 10 minutes flat made the ice cream. So it was like, I probably wouldn't have made that. And again, I didn't need to do it, but I was motivated to want to do it because I was like, let me see how fast I can do that. And then I was like, I'm tapping out, I'm done. I'll cut the veggies on Monday, and it ended up being fine. So timing yourself, could not recommend more. I did that also on Friday when I had to get through my inbox and I didn't want to. Timed myself. It just turns it into a race against the clock. If you're a competitive person like me, I loved it. And then number 5, let me grab my phone. Oof. Okay, so I journaled. You guys know I talk about journaling a lot, and it is so much more. When I first got into journaling intentionally, I was like, oh, this is a good thing to put in my journal so that next Sunday I can then look back on it and I will literally read it to you. I said timing this was so helpful. It made it into a game of beat the clock, and I got it all done in under an hour, cleanup and all. I'll definitely appreciate that this week. So being able to physically look back on this next week when I get to the same place and I'm like, don't really feel like doing that. I remember you are always, happy that you did it. It makes the week go easier. That was kind of like honestly how I got started with journaling a lot, is to be able to have those reminders. But what people don't understand about journaling is that it truly creates stronger neural pathways in your brain and rewires the way that your brain thinks, so that not only do you have this reminder to go back to, but you are lessening the resistance in your brain of doing that task, because your brain is learning that this is a beneficial task. You can use this for anything. You can use it for if you are someone who struggles with overeating. Maybe you then go to your journal and you jot down, I just ate way past fullness. This doesn't feel good. We're not blaming or shaming ourselves, but what you are doing in your brain is to potentially remind yourself to be able to go back to next time when you're like, I notice I'm full. I just want to keep eating, to remind yourself that doesn't actually really feel good. It's not super satisfying. But what you're also doing is training your brain to learn that overeating doesn't feel good. So you have less of a desire to do it because your brain is learning. This can be used for anything, right? This is not just about a food thing, and why I journal so much about movement and self-care and all of that stuff, because it's not just about having something to look back on. It's truly about rewiring your brain and creating new neural pathways in your brain. So I will link that podcast episode in the description of this if you want to go into more detail, but that's what we did on Sunday. We got our meal prep done, and then fast forward to now, it's Tuesday. I'm feeling like we have a decent day ahead of us. I'm going to show you lunch today. It's a lunch you guys have seen before, Rachel sandwiches, which I think are my favorite sandwich of all time. So I'm going to go edit the podcast episode, get that up, and then I will catch up with you guys at lunchtime when we have our Sammys. Oh, you're gonna help me? Are you gonna help me? Oh, Papa, you're gonna help the mommy. Are you gonna help the mommy? No, I'm gonna sleep. Okay, I'm dilly-dallying. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Okay, friends, it is lunchtime here. Sometimes the biggest grapes are the least flavorful. These aren't that great. They're not that great. They're fine. We are having my favorite, which is kind of falling apart right now. That's my own fault. I've shown you guys this sandwich before. It's called the Rachel sandwich. Made it the exact same way that I have shown you guys previously. We made it nice and big, but with a couple changes. I just toasted it today. I did not feel like getting a pan out, so we just toasted it. Probably not gonna be it's gonna be fine. Would it be more satisfying? Yeah, probably, but it's fine. That's also why it's not holding together, because the cheese isn't melty holding it together. It is what it is. I love big sandwiches, you guys. Coleslaw, turkey. I did also put some bread and butter pickles on here. Cheese, mayo, Thousand Island, the whole shebang that we usually have. Very excited. Oh, I bit my lip. When a Sammy makes you dance, that's how you know it's good. That's the first thing. The second change that I made, rather the third, toasted it, added pickles. When I was at the store, after we had gotten bread, gone away from the aisle, we're getting to the checkout, I'm like, I realized I got white bread. And usually I do prefer, this is a good example, I want to walk you through this because it's a good example to show the difference between a food rule versus a food preference. I prefer whole wheat bread because it's gonna have a little bit more nutrients in there. Those extra nutrients are gonna help make you feel a little bit more energized versus just the carbs kind of doing a quick energy spike and not giving you as long lasting energy. So I also enjoy the taste of it. I enjoy wheat bread. I realized we got white and I was like, I just don't feel like going back to the switching it out. So I'm like, it's fine for the week. Note to self next time, double check, but I was in a rush. It happens. That's how you can tell the difference between a food rule versus a preference. A preference is more of like, oh, that's a bummer, but I'm not going to freak out about it. Might I prefer something else? Sure. Be it for taste, nutrition, whatever it is, but it's not going to cause us a spiral. Difference between a food rule and a food preference. Okay, so I'm going to eat this. My camera's going to die. We have this and then great. And that's lunch. I don't know, the day just like got away from me. If you get that reference, let me know in the comments. Okay, my friends, we have had a day. Have I said that like every single day of this video? Because I swear I have not stopped in like a week. And I don't say that, you guys, you're a little crooked. I also say that like every time because you are. I never say that as like, I am so anti hustle culture. I hate when I get in this phase. I feel like I've worked so hard to get out of having a phase like this, but sometimes you're just gonna have busy seasons of life. And that's what we've got going on right now. So I have just, I think, cross your fingies, given the final sign off for the next release of the app. My eyes are gonna go crossed. It's not like a website. I know I've said this before and I won't harp on it, but it's like, I wish it was like a website where you could just like quick like fix a typo or you could just like quick make a change. It is not, and it's nothing I can do on my own. But now essentially what happens is it goes off into the abyss. It's up to Apple and Google. Catching up, my Lanta, you guys. Okay, I had some ice cream today. There's a couple things I still need to show you in this video. I wanna show you the ice cream and then dinner tonight. So let me grab the ice cream. I had some Grasshopper ice cream after lunch. I have a question for you. Hang on. Okay, when I make this ice cream, it usually makes like one and then like a little bit of one of these. I can link these containers that I use. But I have a question. When you guys eat ice cream, does it ever just turn into like a ball? I love like the melty soft stuff, so I find myself like always like going around the outside and just my husband's always like, why does it just turn into a ball? Because the melted stuff is the best. Guys, if you have not tried making no churn ice cream, it is so freaking good and so freaking easy. I'm not joking when I say it is better than Ben & Jerry's. It is so easy. It's just heavy whipping cream. You make whipped cream, then you take sweetened condensed milk, vanilla. This one has some mint extract and some green food coloring. Mix it together. Fold in the whipped cream that you made, because we don't want to like stir it because then it's not going to be as nice, fluffy, and airy. And then you fold in. Do you guys get that reference? Fold in the crushed Oreos, and I swear there are a couple things about this. So you know how Shamrock shakes are like, they're not mint chocolate chip flavored. They are like truly like a very creamy menthol kind of. It makes it sound like toothpaste, but you know what I mean. It's not mint chocolate chip. That's what this tastes like. Like it is a very creamy, minty, almost like vanilla-y goodness. It is so good. But with this, as I was eating it earlier, and really anytime I eat this, there's a couple things that I keep in mind, and that is the fact that it is very rich. And it's one of those foods that kind of, it catches up with you. Like in the moment, you might not like feel how filling it is, but after it's kind of like, whoa, that's kind of like sitting like a rock in my stomach. This is very rich. That's what makes it taste so good. And that's not wrong or bad. So it is something that I am mindful as I'm eating it, because I know, okay, like I might not be feeling this right now. Am I satisfied? Do I want more? Just being a little bit more mindful with things that kind of like you feel like catch up with you a little bit later, that you don't necessarily like feel how rich they are in the moment. Just being mindful of that and just really staying attuned, I think, is the biggest thing with that. And then I did want to share with you guys too, part of what I've been working on with the app is over the past couple of days, I have like completely revamped the toolbox in here. And a couple of the things that we did, we've had mindful eating prompts. So that would be really helpful if you do have those kinds of foods that you feel like, I don't realize how like it makes either my tummy feel or how filling it is until a little bit later. better. Use some of those mindful eating prompts in there. I'll pull one up and give you an example of it. So this one talks about tuning into enjoyment. Take a moment to notice any flavors or ingredients you're especially enjoying. What makes them stand out, or what might you add for next time? So an example of like just this random prompt, how you would use it. I would think like it's a minty flavor, but it's not like in your face mint. It's like a very soft, creamy mint. And then the cookie pieces in here, I like to add a lot of Oreo cookie pieces. They add kind of like a nice crunch. Is that enjoyable? I think it is. That's why I add a bunch of them. So it's tuning into more of like the elements of it versus just like, this is delicious, and stopping there. What is it about that? Those are a couple good ones, but then another category that I completely revamped is the food guilt category. So I adjusted this so that it could be used whether you are in the moment feeling guilt or for kind of like preventative measures. You can do these on a daily basis. They're very flexible. Let's pick one here. I like this one. Okay, breathing in gratitude. It says take 3 big deep breaths to calm the body. I feel like that's something that's often overlooked, is like the physical tension that we hold in our bodies. Then think of a time that you've felt food guilt in the past or in the present, and practice reframing the experience by listing 2 to 4 positive outcomes of it, such as joy, nourishment, or even it being an experience to learn and grow from. So let me give you an example of with this ice cream. So for this, you could say, if you're feeling guilty because, oh, like, should I have eaten that? It's a rich food. You have permission to enjoy all foods. I loved that I was able to, maybe you were having some ice cream with your significant other and make those memories, or that you were able to enjoy your craving, or it was fun to make and then to eat. You made something that's amazing, right? Or the fact that maybe it's a struggle for you to be able to eat foods like this and you're proud of yourself for doing that. Reframe it that way. But you might be like, but Colleen, what if I ate way more ice cream than felt good? You can still reframe that. Then we now know, okay, so I know I tend to eat this food past comfortable fullness. So what can I do next time? Maybe you use one of those mindful eating exercises. Maybe you put some in a bowl and sit down and truly allow yourself to enjoy it. Or maybe you simply use that as a learning experience to say, okay, that amount didn't feel good to my tummy. Noted, next time when I eat that, I'll be a little bit more mindful of the amount and tune into how it's feeling both now and how I know how it might make me feel later. Do a little bit of that, what I call forward thinking. Anywho, guys, had some of that. I'm gonna get this back in the freezer so it doesn't melt. We have a whole other one. I'm very excited for that. So tonight we have one last recipe that I wanna show you guys, which is our turkey Reuben bowls. Oh, you're real crooked now because you're half on the oven. I've really loved this meal. I've eaten a lot of cabbage this week, but that's in the nature of it's St. Patrick's week. So we're gonna have those tonight, and then I'm going to get next week's recipes up. I actually polled you guys on Instagram for what we're gonna eat next week. If you are watching this video, every week we do a recipe club. So the things that you're gonna see me eating in the next video, those recipes are gonna be up and ready for you in the app. If you're on my email list, I'll also send them out to you. But if you go, I'll link it in the description. You can go to the app, filter for weekly picks, and those are always the weekly picks that you'll see in that week's video. So I asked you guys, I gotta learn, to be honest, you guys, not to ask you on Instagram, I love you, but you're not helpful in making decisions. So I asked you if you wanted the street corn chopped salads or the crunchy Thai peanut chopped salads, and 54% of you and 46, it's like a freaking even split. And then for desserts, I asked if we wanted to do black bean brownies or a cinnamon roll poke cake. I have a recipe for boxed black bean brownies. It's literally a box of brownies and a can of black beans, I think like a 1/4 cup of water or something like that. Trust me, it's not, to me, it's like not necessarily a health thing. It is a texture thing. I tried it like as a kind of like response reaction video, and I was like, okay, those are really good. Sometimes you try those things and they're delicious. A lot of times you try them and they suck. This was one of the ones that was delicious. Or a cinnamon roll poke cake, 45, 55. So we'll see if any more votes come in, but that's where we're standing right now. And then what else did I plan? Let me pull that up. Strawberry crunch yogurt toast. And I think we're gonna do roasted cauliflower, sausage, and kale soup. I think those are gonna be our recipes for next week, but I'll email them out and double check the app, and then you can eat with me for next week. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I honestly can't think back to the first day that I filmed this. It's been that long of a freaking week, but the end is near. These like app development just always get in such a rat race towards the end, but it's all for good. We're feeling the joy with it. We are part of the kindness crew for ourselves as well. I got this sweatshirt from Old Navy and I love it, but I'm gonna stop talking now because I feel like this clip is gonna be so long. But I hope you like this video. If you did, we do these week of eats pretty much every week here with some tips, tidbits along the way. And be sure you're subscribed to the channel. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment with your thoughts, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video is uploaded. And with that, my friends, I will see you in the next one. I'm gonna finish my water and cross my fingers that it doesn't rain for the rest of the day. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers. See you later. You know, I don't know why I was saying bye to you guys because I still have so many things that I want to talk to you about. I mentioned earlier how like things didn't go as planned when I was grocery shopping. And when we went to buy ground turkey, all they had was the like, I think this is like 90% lean, and personally, not my favorite. I think it's too lean. Like, I like to have a little fat in there. And then fat also helps keep you full. But even though it's not a preference, it was what was available. Sometimes you just gotta go with that. And then also, I'm not worried about it like nutritionally because we are gonna have be able to add some fat in other ways. And so it'll also like make it hopefully a little less tough. But sometimes you just roll with what you got, even if it isn't your preference. So I'm gonna put these Reuben bowls together and I'll show you how to do that. So first of all, I have these, I think this is it Hexclad? I'm pretty sure it's Hexclad. Getting a giant pan. So usually like you might need 2 pans to cook veggies and meat, but I like this giant one because I can just push them both to the sides. But we have our turkey, we got a little bit of butter and coleslaw, so that is warming up. This is very similar to what I had for lunch. But then we are gonna stir in some sauerkraut to here. And then we just assemble, and then we're gonna put some cheese on it, melt it. I'll show you when it's all done, but then we serve it with pickles and then Thousand Island, and you can use any sort of, carb. We chose chips, but you could do like bagel crisps or croutons, but we just wanted to do that. So let me keep going with this, plate it up, and then show you the finished product. Look at that cheesy goodness.